I hope everybody's going to have a great time today. We have got the lineup for today. So hopefully we get everything quite or every question answered. We're going to talk about presumptives, and then we're also going to turn it into just a general chat here. But before we get going, though, we do have a special guest, PCM Donnie Witten, that loves doing the disclaimer. So we're going to count that down and just let him rock and roll this thing out. So 3, 2, 1.
We are not accredited agents, VA associates, attorneys, or any other regular of the Department of Veterans Affairs. We are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insiders is an education-based coaching consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits. Wish to learn more about that process. VA Claims Insiders also connects veterans with vetted independent medical professionals in our referral network for medical examinations, independent medical opinions for a wide range of disability conditions.
Awesome.
Oh my God, that deserves a round of applause.
Yeah, definitely. Way to go. That is awesome. And Caleb, you owe him $5.
All right. Check's in the mail.
5.6 seconds.
Right. I slowed it down and walked it in at the end, like right before the end zone, and he still
nice touch. Nice touch.
I like it. That was pretty good. Now,
speaking of special guests, we got a celebrity amongst us. I don't know if you guys are into the podcast world, but Dr. John Trimble is our very own doc on the road. He's got a nice little podcast out there. So I hear. No, I haven't listened. No, I'm just kidding. Great. I've listened to it.
It's good stuff. We'll get the link up there for you guys. And while we get started, post in the comments. Let us know who you are, where you served, where you're from. I'm Veteran Coach Manager Elizabeth Hash. It's great to be here. I'm excited. I'm also a veteran, and I'm blessed to get to be part of this group. So welcome, insiders. Thanks for joining us today. We know you have other things you could be doing, so we're excited you're here to spend it with us.
Awesome.
Yeah, and my name is Veteran Coach Manager Stacy Allen, Gulf War vet. And man, what a lineup we got here today. I'm looking forward to having this conversation with the four of you, talking about what we're going to be talking about, but more important, connecting with our veterans out here on Facebook and YouTube and the other social media. So excited for today.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just keep going around the room. Happy New Year, everyone. Great to see everyone here in the room here on the team. Great to see our veterans already chiming in where they're from, location-wise, branch they served in, and years they served. So please, if you're just joining us, go ahead and drop a little bit about yourself, little intro there in the chat box or the comment box. We'll love to give you guys a few shout-outs here as we get going. Like the others have said, welcome. Happy Wednesday to you all. My name is Caleb McLag, and I'm also a veteran coach manager here with the organization. I've been here for about 2 years with VA Claims Insider, and prior to that, I was a client of VA Claims Insider. And after I won all my claims and went to 100% permanent in total, the organization here offered me a position here. And of course, I took it, and I get to do this each and every day and hang out with an amazing team and share my success with all my veterans. So a little bit about me. Again, welcome to all of our veterans here in the room. And again, Happy New Year.
Donnie, you're up.
Oh, sorry. I was reading the comments. Hey, I'm Donnie Witten. I'm a United States Army combat veteran. I have been doing VA claims in one capacity or another for about a decade. I came to VACI also as a client. I started in higher education and client to coach, and then have moved up to the ranks, and blessed to be here and work with this great team of individuals. There's, they say you don't work a day in your life if you love what you do.
That's actually a good point. My name is Veteran Coach Manager John Trimble. I was an old paratrooper. I also came through the program, and I also was a psychologist for over 20 plus years in private practice. So, but like Stacy said a little while ago, this is an awesome group here. This is the group that actually really kind of oversees a lot of how the claims are going to be done and stuff like that. We coach a lot of the coaches. And we've learned from each other tremendously for the last couple of years. And I couldn't be more proud to be part of this group here, because these people actually are really some of the faces behind the scenes and some of the faces in front of the camera. So we get to play all kinds of roles here. So now, before we get into this, I
Hey
see
John,
that
real quick, hey John, real quick. I got a question for you, and not to get hung up on semantics, but I want to clarify. Did you say I was an old paratrooper? How
yeah.
does how does one grow out of old age? I'm just curious. I mean, I want to know. I'm sure we got a lot of veterans here. How do you grow out of old age? How does that happen?
Well, as you can see by the camera view, that I am still an old paratrooper.
Too funny.
In the words of Tony Horton, if anybody's ever done P90X, aging is for those that don't know any better.
Mhm.
There
Exactly.
you go.
I gotta get smarter. Yes, this is definitely showing lately.
Well, JT, we're talking about presumptive conditions today for a little while, right? Can we talk about what is a presumptive condition? What does that mean?
Right. Well, that's basically, it's going to be a condition that is going to be attached to something that you did while you were in the military. But now, the important thing is, and I think a lot of veterans make a mistake here, is just because we're talking about presumptives doesn't mean that it has a different way of going about it, because you simply still have to have the diagnosis, you still have to have medical evidence, and you still have to be able to tie that all in, and then let the VA do their part with making it basically within the presumptives. Um, and I think that's one of the biggest mistakes veterans make, is they look at it like it's something different. It is, to a certain point, but you still have to have that diagnosis. You still have to be able to show with medical evidence that it can be service connected. Um, Now, with the PACT Act and all that kind of stuff that has just come out recently, it does make it a lot easier, but you still have to have those basics.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that. So, you know, there are many different types of presumptive conditions, right? So it's based on a period of service in a specific theater, occupation, or scenario in which you were in. And the VA has, through a very lengthy process, trust me, conceded that it is at least as likely as not. So they're going to go ahead and grant you that connection that's related to that qualifying period of service. So essentially, if you were there in the conditions outlined, so say you were in Vietnam, or the Gulf War, one of them, or Camp Lejeune, they're saying based on that period of service, that in-service event, right? So there's three different requirements for service connection: the in-service event, a current diagnosis, and a nexus. So they're saying based on that in-service event you have, if you have a current diagnosis, like Dr. John said, you still have to have a condition, then we're going to grant you that nexus if you completely meet the requirements outlined by the CFR. If you do not, then there may be additional paperwork required, but it opens the door, right? So maybe you weren't seen for that sinusitis while you were in service, but so you wouldn't, in a normal situation, have an in-service event. But now, because of the PACT Act and such, we can go ahead and get that service connected if we meet the other legal requirements.
Love
Right. And if a veteran, sorry, JT, just
it.
real quick, if there's veterans on here now that have questions, hey, does this qualify for a presumptive condition? I would urge you to jump over to vacifree30.com
Mhm.
and speak to one of our business development representatives. It's a free discovery call. You'll schedule with them, spend about 30 minutes, ask all your questions and get them answered. And that's your pathway, and that's your doorway to get in and connect with us, get assigned to a coach, and start marching forward with those claims. So
Oh, yeah.
vacifree30.com.
That's an excellent point. Because some of this stuff does get a little complicated, and having that coach that can actually help walk you through this is a perfect way to not only attack, but come up with a strategy that actually is going to work off the trends that we've seen, off of the different things that we've seen over the last couple of years. Like when everybody was talking about how the PACT Act was going to affect everything, we were because we saw that kind of stuff coming. All of us knew how this is going to play out, and started working on it then. So there's all kinds of different. Everybody's different, so there's going to be a different strategy for everybody. But the point is that all the angles will be covered if you are working with a coach and really working with a coach in a way to where you're building up that relationship and actually building up the team effort to get there, because that's what this is all about anyway, is a team effort.
John, if you don't mind, I'd love to jump in and tell a little bit about my story. Yeah, so that was one of the biggest things that attracted me to this organization. When I realized that I was going to partner up with a coach in a one-on-one format, one-on-one setting, to come up with a customized strategy for my situation, that was one thing that really excited me about jumping on board with VA Claims Insider. And to continue that further, yeah, jump on for a free 30-minute call. If it works and it makes sense for you, jump on board with a coach, with our organization. And what we do is we walk you through our 3-step SEAM method. Okay, so we arm you with a strategy, and then we arm you with a ton of education, and then we arm you with medical evidence, which helps prove your claim. Okay, and that's for presumptive conditions if needed, and that's for other conditions, whether they're primary or secondary service-connected conditions, or whether you need to file a supplemental. We walk you through that with that SEM method, that SEAM method. So if you need us, jump on board, go through the 30-minute discovery call, get assigned a coach. We work with you one-on-one. Again, we arm you with that strategy, the education, and then the medical evidence if it's needed to help prove your claim. Because the number one reason that the VA denies these disability claims, is based on the lack of medical evidence. So what we want to do is push claims to the VA alongside you. You know, you file your claim, but you serve it up on a silver platter. You serve that claim up on a silver platter. You make it very easy for the VA to decide your claim when you have all your ducks in a row, when you have all that medical evidence served on that silver platter. So again, if you need our organization's help, reach out, grab a slot on that free 30-minute call. And again, if it makes sense for you, jump on board with a coach, and we'll walk through this process together. So, yeah.
A common misconception about presumptive claims is that you don't need any medical evidence. That's
Right.
simply not the case. The link is up for our presumptive list for 2023. There are hundreds of conditions that are considered presumptive conditions, and they all have their own special requirements that you have to meet in order to be eligible for the presumptive criteria. That doesn't mean if you're not eligible for the presumptive criteria, there's not a way for you to get it service connected. There may be, but you do need medical evidence to support it. You do need a diagnosis of a condition that's recognized, and you need to go through that process so that you've got everything the VA requires by law for that service connection. So check out that blog post. It's excellent. There are a lot of great details in there. You can control F and look for symptoms. You can control F and look for conditions. It's an awesome resource.
I totally agree about it being an awesome resource. The thing that's really cool about what we do is we do kind of have a situation where we can coach you, and it does become a little bit easier. It takes that little edge off of it. And knowing that you do have a coach that's actually going to help you through this also helped me too, Caleb. When I first did the process, that was one of the biggest things, because I had already got myself to a certain point that I knew that I could get to, but I knew at a certain point that that's all I was going to be able to do.
Yeah, I think just knowing that you can go through this process, you know, with a teammate or with a battle buddy, just made all the difference for me. So yeah, just speaking from experience there. So
I'll just share briefly. So I don't think I mentioned it in the introductions, but I was a client here before I became a coach as well. And I'm looking over here in the comment sections, and I see a lot of seasoned veterans. I'm not going to say older veterans, but I'm going to say seasoned because I'm one of them, right? So I was actually out of the Army for 24 years before I filed my first claim. And I was talking to a coworker of mine. We were just talking, and they said, Stacy, that's a presumptive condition. You were a Desert Storm vet. That's presumptive. I didn't even know what presumptive meant.
Yeah.
I didn't really know anything about the VA at that time. So started doing my research and found out. And sure enough, I left, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table by waiting 24 years to
Yeah.
file my first claim. So if any of you are kind of in that same mindset, thinking maybe you don't deserve it, or maybe too much time has passed, it hasn't. It hasn't. I'm 100% permanent total today, just like Caleb, just like several other managers here on this call. And it's because of the process that VA Claims Insider uses, the SEM method, the 8-step process that we take our veterans through. So if any of you are in that boat that you think too much time has passed, it hasn't. So jump on board with us. There's no upfront cost, right? You can certainly speak to a BDR for a half an hour. You can actually sign up with us, get assigned a coach, and walk through your process. And the coach, and you can find pathways that maybe you didn't even realize existed.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
so jump on board with us. Thanks.
And if you all receive a subpoena, it's because Stacy just violated my HIPAA rights. I need you to appear on behalf of me.
As you all can tell, we have a lot of fun around here too. So it's a great team and a great culture to work for. Yeah. So just to again kind of round out our conversation here, presumptives. The VA concedes the condition, right? Like that's what the presumptive means. So you have the in-service event or aggravation, meaning you were at the right location during the right time frame. You have the current diagnosis, meaning you were diagnosed with one of those presumptive conditions on the list. And what the VA does is they concede the nexus. They concede the link between those first 2 points. Now, again, if we can drop that link in the chat box, go through this article, check out the 10 categories that we outlined for presumptive service connection conditions. Okay, anything from POW, Agent Orange exposure, radiation exposure. Again, there are 10 basic categories here. And what I would say is, just to take it a step further, the great thing about presumptives, a great thing about a lot of conditions, there were over 900 conditions rateable by the VA, by the way, and not every veteran knew that. When my coach told me that, I was blown away. Over 900 rateable conditions by the VA. Presumptives and other conditions, they open the gateway, or they open the door to what are known as secondary conditions. Okay. And the great thing about secondary conditions is you can build off of these primary service connected conditions. You can also file secondaries on top of secondary conditions as well. So another little tidbit there for you as well. But yeah, again, check out this article. If you meet the criteria, get in touch with us, get assigned a coach, and don't go it alone. Walk through this process or run through this process with a battle buddy. That's my biggest encouragement there. So,
a common misconception is presumptive does not mean slam dunk, right? It's not. It doesn't mean they're just gonna give it to you. And also, you have to file for an actual disability that is a presumptive disability. I see all the time veterans file and they're like, "Well, I filed for Gulf War syndrome."
right.
That's not a thing. It's not a thing. Gulf War syndrome is a slang term used to talk about the presumptive conditions of the Gulf War theater. And there's a list of those, and actual Gulf War syndrome is not one of them. That being said, it's still important, as Caleb was talking about, to meet those elements of service connection and have a strategy and link things together. I think in 2019, it was something like 70 something percent of the winning claims filed were secondary conditions. It just shows how much how important it is to use the kinetic chain theory to link together your different conditions. The old song, the hip bones connected to the da da. Well, that's true, and not only that, but your physical health is connected to your mental health, and vice versa. It's called somatic symptoms, right? And you can have somatic symptoms that are mental or somatic symptoms that are physical. It's all related. And that's the advantage of having an experienced coach. They're going to know those etiologies and the connections from one thing to another. Again, if you want to sign up for a coach, we drop that link. It's they're able to see things that you're not even thinking about. Um, Not only that, but they're going to make sure that you submit a fully developed claim. You're gonna have all your ducks in a row, and uh, it's better for everyone to submit a fully developed claim. It's better for you. It's better for veterans as a whole. The reason we have a backlog is because of so many veterans out there filing bad claims and/or the spray and pray method that's pushed by a lot of VSOs. They want you to submit everything. And it's creating this monster backlog. You do yourself a favor and your veteran brothers and sisters a favor when you submit solid, good claims.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Hey, also the presumptives now everything that was on the PAC Act, they're just starting to look at that stuff, right, guys? I mean, they kind of let it build up and all that, and we're waiting for the first of the year to actually go through that. So now's the time to actually strike, and now's the time to actually go ahead and get that stuff in if you're suffering from that. Now, I know some of you might have that thought, like I did. I don't really deserve that. I don't really deserve to, talk about this and stuff like this. You signed the dotted line. You could have been put in harm's way at any point. But the important thing is you served this country and you served it well. So yes, you do deserve this. Yes, if you're suffering from something, make sure that you are putting in the fight and go get what you deserve. Our founder, Brian Reese, that's one of his biggest battle cries is you deserve it. Go get it. So while you're thinking about that and you come to VA Claims Insider um, and you get with a coach and you start building that strategy, just remember that you deserve this. This is here for all of us that did serve and did serve pride or proudly, and we do deserve it. So when you have that mind thought that you don't deserve it, that just needs to disappear somewhere because you did deserve it. You signed the dotted line just like everybody else did. All right.
Hey, John. So what I hear a lot from veterans coming in is, I've got both my arms and both my legs, and I certainly don't want to take away from other veterans. So I don't want to do this. What's the fault in that thought process?
Let me handle that one. So I was part of the invasion force in Iraq in '03, and I was medevac and spent some quality time at good old Walter Reed Hospital. And every morning, my roommate, I watch him roll out of bed and struggle to get in his wheelchair with no legs. And I, for a long time, also had that same guilt. I don't deserve what he deserves. Well, the thing is, I will not ever, even at 100%, be compensated at his level. They have these things called special monthly compensations, right? So if you meet certain uh, criteria regulated by 38 CFR, then you might qualify for a special monthly compensation. So, for instance, erectile dysfunction or FSAD, female sexual arousal disorder, would be SMCK. If you have one condition of 100% and your main condition or conditions total of 60%, or you're housebound, then you might get SMCS, or you will get SMCS. And there's a litany of these conditions to include loss of use of you know legs and arms and eyes and all kinds of things. All at SMCR, SMCT. If you have SMCT, you're getting paid. Well, I don't know what the new rates, but it was last year over $9,000 a month. A single veteran at 100% is about 3,300. So you're not getting what they get. You're not getting compensated at the same level, and also you getting paid for the conditions you deal with, for the impact that disabilities have on your life, probably the years it's taking off of your life, does not reduce the disability compensation of another veteran, nor does it take away from them. There is not a limited pot on how they're going to compensate other veterans. We can all be compensated what we deserve. You know, if I could hear me, I get the worst sinusitis in the world. I can't breathe like 24/7, can't sleep. If I could do that, I would give all my disability money back if I could breathe and sleep, and not even the other problems. But I can't, you know. And if you know anything about sleep and breathing, when that is impaired, it takes years off your life. So I don't, you know, I no longer have that same hesitation or guilt or shame. You know, that's going to be it also the benefits that my children get, you know, irreplaceable. You're taking care of your family. You're making you're changing your life, and you're impacting generational change.
Very good point, Donnie. I mean, very good point. And I think that's the way us as veterans, as we take care of each other. I mean, that was our pretty much our number one mandate anyway, wasn't it? You're supposed to be taking care of your buddy. You're supposed to be looking out for those that served with you. And I think that is one of the biggest things is the mindset needs to be changed on that. We need to have a mindset of, no, we're taking care of each other and we're going to get through this. And we do it as a team. And we also get to learn a lot. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I've learned from Elizabeth, just knowing that was her service was slightly different than mine. But I enjoy learning about that because it's kind of, you know, cool because as you're building that community, you're starting to understand a lot better. You're starting to understand different things that need to be brought out. And like what Donnie was saying, and Stacy and Caleb, all of this stuff is bottom line. You deserve it. You signed that dotted line. Anything could have happened during the service, and because it did, you deserve to be able to be looked at, treated, compensated, and you know, like I said, that mindset needs to get pushed off to the side as you go for what you deserve. So.
I heard from one of our coaches, and it really blew me away. They said, listen, you know, the government rents your body. Like you would rent a car, the government rents your body. If you rent a car and you damage it, you pay for those damages. That's all you're doing in this situation. You're asking the government to pay for the damages to your body that your service inflicted. And when you simplify it to that, I think it's easier to reconcile the emotion behind it. It was for me.
What a great way to put that, Liz. Hey, we're coming down to the bottom of the hour. Would like to take a look over here into the comments and start jumping on some of these questions. And if you guys throw your questions up there, we will get to them. If we can't get to them by the top of the hour, we will answer them. So please post your questions. And again, if you have more questions that we're not able to get to, feel free to jump on to vacifree30.com, speak with a BDR, get your questions answered there, get assigned to a coach, and let's go. Let's go. I'm gonna bring up Pedro Munguia. He said recently claimed lung condition as a presumptive condition due to burn pits. Already had an appointment for lung capacity and x-ray. Chances of getting a percentage, I'm at 90%. Well, we talked about, you know, some of those requirements for service connection, right? One of them is a diagnosis or the actual condition. So if you filed for a lung condition, do you actually have a diagnosis for that lung condition? That's going to be key, right? And does it meet one of the presumptive criteria for burn pits? Maybe. It's hard to say. That's not really a clear enough question to be able to answer that. But again, you know, once you come on board with us, load up your documents where you and your coach can go through that together. We can absolutely pinpoint it and get you a solid on that one. Great question, Pedro.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So a couple of questions are, how do I get a hold of a coach? Well, one, if you're not signed up, you got to sign up to get a coach. That's the first step. As Stacy said, once you're in the system, you'll get granted access to the insider portal. In this insider portal, you upload your documents. On the left-hand side, there's a whistle, and it's got your coach's information in there, and that is how you contact your coach. He's got a little link. He or she has a link, and you can schedule with your coach anytime you like. I saw someone else saying they need to get a hold of their coach. That's how you do it. Get their link, schedule with them. It's that easy, and they will be on that call.
Yep, and Brother Pedro, you keep fighting. I think that's another thing that everybody needs to realize too. Just because you've done something in the past and the VA said no to it, doesn't mean that it's over. You keep fighting for that. Keep adding medical evidence. Keep doing whatever it takes to go ahead and keep coming back at him with that. So, Brother Pedro, you just keep fighting.
And one of the things, and I'm sorry, John, one of the things that we say here, you get a denial. This process is never over unless you quit. Right. There is always a path. Right. So it's never over unless you quit. So absolutely, JT, keep fighting.
Yeah, always keep fighting. Always, there's always going to be a way to keep going.
Also, so the burn pit registry, you hear this all the time. There is no correlation between the burn pit registry and your presumptive conditions. The burn pit registry is used for tracking and data mechanisms only, and does not you're not required to be on the burn pit registry to file for a presumptive condition that is related to burn pits.
Vanessa Rogers asked, so you must have these conditions within the first year of leaving the service. That's not totally accurate. Presumptive conditions all have their own guidelines. So for sinusitis, rhinitis, rhinosinusitis, when that first came out for a link to the burn pits, they wanted that diagnosis within 10 years of leaving theater or leaving exposure. Some cases leaving the service. And they've extended that with the burn pits to whenever. Now, a general rule when you get out, if it's not a presumptive condition, is that if you develop these conditions and you're diagnosed within a year of leaving the service, then it could be presumptively linked to your service. So that's where sometimes that verbiage kind of muddies the waters, so to speak. But you don't necessarily need to have those conditions within that first year diagnosed. If you are wondering, same thing, hop on the phone, do a discovery call, see if you can chat with someone who can clear that up for you.
Mm-hmm. Jose, that's a great question. Thanks, Liz, for tackling that. Another question here in the comments box. Jose asks, how do I claim a presumptive condition? Is it just like a new claim, or would I have to file an appeal if it was denied prior? This is actually a really great question. So yeah, so if it's a presumptive condition and you've never filed for it before, you would file a brand new claim. Okay. And that would be a direct service connection because it's direct service related based on your exposure in the right country, the right location during the right time frame. And then if you had filed for that condition in the past, and you were denied, and now the presumptive list has expanded, you would go ahead and file a supplemental claim, add some new and relevant medical evidence, and then file that as a supplemental, okay? Because you want the VA to take a new look at that with fresh eyes. So go ahead and add some more new, some new and relevant evidence and file that claim off to the VA. So another great question. Quick story. I had a veteran who was denied their presumptive, denied their presumptive condition. We filed a supplemental that came back denied. We filed an HLR, which a higher level review, you can't submit any new and relevant evidence. So we had a senior level adjudicator take a brand new look at that claim. That claim was denied. Then we went back with another supplemental that was denied. And then we went back for another HLR. And on that final HLR, this veteran was awarded. I think we maxed out his percentage. He went up to 100% permanent total. So just going back to a couple of the points that we made, the fight is never over. You have options. You file a new claim, it gets denied. You file an HLR or you file a supplemental, and you go back and forth until you win your claim. Okay, the fight is never over unless you quit on yourself. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent point. As a matter of fact, Jose, right here in the chat actually talked, or it says something about that, where he was denied 5 times for a condition,
Yeah.
and it took around a year and a half. Finally got it. That's exactly right. You got to keep fighting, because sooner or later, if it is affecting you on a daily basis to where it constricts what you normally would do on a daily basis, or it's creating other problems in your life because of this, they're going to see this sooner or later.
Right.
So you got to keep putting it in front of them, keep going. That's one thing that you've always been taught, especially as a warrior. You've got to keep going to the objective, and that's what the objective is.
Exactly. Yeah. The supplemental claim, you add new and relevant evidence, that supplemental claim, that appeal, and then you file the HLR where you can't file any new evidence. And if you need to go back and forth, I call it an HLR sandwich. If you have to go back and forth, you go back and forth with the HLR sandwich. So yeah, don't give up. Don't give up. It's out there. There are options and there are pathways to success. Yeah.
Bill Coffey over in the chat. I hope you're listening to all this, Bill. He says that he's at 90%, has been for several years, lots of effort to get to this point. Absolutely is a lot of effort, but you're at 90%, so congrats on that.
Yeah.
Says, I'm sure more can be claimed, but it's so much hassle. Well, so I'll say that the first 10% in this process and the last 10% in this process are the hardest 10% to get, right? Just getting started. And that last 10% is difficult, right? There's a lot to do there, but can it be done? Absolutely. The only way that it won't be done is if you quit. So stay in the fight, keep fighting for what you deserve. If you have other claims that should be service connected, then you absolutely should be going for those.
Absolutely. All right, let's see.
Yeah, that last 10% gets exceptionally difficult because VA math is not regular math. If I pay my taxes on VA math, I'd be in prison. So essentially, how that works is, if you get a single disability of 70%, then they consider you 30% healthy. They take that 70 off the 100, you're left with 30% health. You get an additional condition of 50%. They take 50 of that 30, so you get 15. They add that 15 to 70, you're at 85. It rounds up to 90. You get another 50%. That's going to put you at 92. Rounds down, you're still at 90. You need another 30% to get over that 95 mark for them to round up to 100. That's a whole lot of percents for that last 10%. But if you look at the VA pay scale on the difference between 90% and 100%, the difference in those percentages are represented by the compensation also. Also, the level of benefits that being 100% and or PNT unlocks is exceptional. And so, it's worth that fight to stay in it. If you are legally, morally, and ethically deserved of 100%, you need to go for it.
I do see a question here, Kevin. Matter of fact, we can turn this into generalistic questions too. I'm at 70% with 100% IU. Is there a reason to bother trying to get to 100%? Of course there is. However, this becomes real tricky, and this becomes something that you really need to have a coach to actually make sure that you do this. It really depends on what you're doing. But when you're on IU, that always scares me as a veteran, because at any time, if there's something that you get reevaluated on or like that, all of a sudden that IU could disappear. Okay.
The vast majority of 100% reductions are TDIU.
Right. So to get to the 100% regular or PNT, that is definitely the way you want to go, because that takes all the eyes off of you too. I mean, there's different things that you can do at 100% PNT that you can't do on the IU. One, work. You can't make but so much money on IU. And there's all kinds of things that can actually throw that off. So to me, I'm always like, no, go for the 100% the correct way. With the IU, it can create other problems there that just make me a little nervous, especially for veterans.
And the TDIU also It takes a long time to reach P&T status on TDIU. It's not assessed the same. And then every time they look at that, they're going to reassess all your disabilities to see if you qualify for P&T. And on top of that, um, you know, you're granted a certain amount of liberality with the age 55 if you're going for if you're 100% on a scheduler rating. It's not viewed the same as TDIU. They're not, because you could still work past 55 if so. It's a much longer road to get all your benefits.
Very good point. I also see another question here. I received 30% for major depressive. Can I receive anything for generalized anxiety? This is another thing too, where veterans make a mistake here. You can only have one mental health diagnosis or rating at one time, unless you have one and they can actually say something about an eating disorder. That's the only way you get two. Generalized anxiety, that's actually a diagnosis as major depressive. Now, they can all be combined, but you're only going to get the one um, uh, rating. And if I'm reading that right, where you receive 30%, yeah, you might want to take a look at that, because 30% is really low.
Mm-hmm.
That, in my opinion, for any veteran, in my opinion, that's receiving 30% for any mental health, I always think that that's a little bit low.
Yeah, Dr. John, we normally see, the average is 70 for
Yes.
mental health. So instead of two mental health conditions, right, because they all fall under the mental health umbrella, this veteran could be looking at filing a mental health increase. And if they meet the criteria at 50% or the average of 70%, that might be their answer versus looking at a second mental health condition.
Oh,
right?
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of people don't know. All mental healths rate exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly.
The only difference is for like PTSD claims, you have to have that stressor event, or at least one or two stressor events. That's the only difference, but they all have the same exact symptoms, and they all rate exactly the same way. So,
Patrick Morrissey asked, should I and how can I prove that I've been terminated from every job in the last 18 years? So this tacks along with the mental health claims, and maybe even potentially some of your other conditions if you're rated for those things. If you've been terminated because of your condition, then yes, it's worth taking a look at and seeing, why. Dig into that. It could impact your overall rating percentage for sure. So yes, I would say it's important. If you want to dig in deeper and understand that further, again, hop on a call, sign up for the program, and see if we're a good fit.
I like it.
Simple question here from Steve Vogler. Can the VA take away the 100% P&T? Well, I say it's simple. There are a couple of caveats to that. So, in most cases, no. The P stands for permanent, right? Permanent and total. There are a few cases in which they could take that away. One is obviously fraud. If they find out that there was any fraudulent activity for you to get that percentage, then yes, absolutely, they could take it away. And then there's other legal things that would probably be looked at as well. Another reason would be for a reevaluation, and typically the only way that would happen is if the veteran filed another claim. So say you're already at 100% permanent total, and you file for a knee, for instance. They could and let's say you're rated for your back, secondary to your knee, and you want that knee increase. So they're going to reevaluate your knee and your back, and potentially anything else connected to that. So you subject yourself for reevaluation and potential reduction. So my advice to anybody that is 100% P&T, enjoy your life. Leave the VA alone after that. Just collect your monthly check, right?
Yeah, that permanent and total status, that the VA believes that those conditions that you're service connected for, those 10, 15, whatever conditions that you're service connected for, they believe that they're static. They believe that they're not going to get any better. So if you're at permanent and total, yeah, don't poke the bear. That would be my advice. That would be my advice.
Christian Madera said, is allergic rhinitis associated with pollen, dog, and mite allergies? This question is associated to presumptive. So your allergic rhinitis is associated to whatever you're allergic to. Only a doctor or a test can tell you that. Maybe it's dog pollen, maybe it's commitment. I don't know, but it's definitely though not related to presumptive conditions, because presumptive conditions are not allergic and or acute in nature. They have to be chronic. You being allergic to pollen is according to the VA is not related to the burn pits or why the presumptive conditions were established. You have to have a chronic condition, so chronic rhinitis, chronic sinusitis, chronic rhinosinusitis, one of those things, for it to be related to the presumptive conditions.
And allergic rhinitis can present as allergies to common things. So get to the doctor, find out the etiology of your allergies, see if it is rhinitis. If there is a possibility that it's linked, then absolutely look and see if you meet that criteria.
Yeah, I wonder if we can claim that if we're allergic to commitment.
I did.
That's a mental health claim.
It was under mental health.
I see Tim Jones has one here where he is chronic pain mental? Yes, it is. If you're going through chronic pain, it's creating those symptoms that we talked about before, quick to anger, all that kind of stuff, anxiety, depression. So yes, and that actually can follow under something called somatic symptom disorder, where that's the old chronic pain disorder. So yes, definitely. And getting with a coach will actually help you get to that, to where you can make sure that you have all the medical evidence laid out the way that you need to have it laid out, and maybe even you in a situation where you get a nexus letter that can actually help you with that as well. So to make that connection.
Ben Loyola asks, local doctor does a DBQ form for a fee. Would this be better than having it done via the C&P exam? So the answer is maybe. That's a really good question to handle with a coach and discuss what the best strategy is for that. You know, it can vary. It depends upon the disability you're pursuing, a number of things. It could reduce the chance that you're going to get a C&P exam, but it won't eliminate it. If the VA wants an opinion, they're going to send you to get one anyway. The real question is, does the doctor know how to properly fill out a DBQ? If they do not, then it might not be the best option. They might not accurately document things and or lay the proper context to your records or something like that. It's really, if you get with a coach though, they can put you in contact with vetted medical professionals who are skilled at writing disability benefits questionnaires and can give you a fair shake on a number of conditions. Also, if you go to your provider and you get one of those, your coach can help you assess the value of it and see if it covers all the bases and is a good part of your submission strategy.
Hey, Donnie, that's actually a really good point. Being in the field for psych for over 20 years, I came through the program. I wouldn't even dream of trying to write up one of these things, simply because I didn't know the language that the VA goes by. I didn't know how they wanted things formatted, stuff like that. So if you are doing that, make sure that doctor knows what they're doing. If you're going to pay for a form or a DBQ or something like that outside, make sure they know what they're doing, because there are wording or things for wording. There are things on how it's supposed to be processed. to where the VA is looking for. So you definitely want to make sure you got somebody that knows what they're doing on that.
Couple questions I see here in the comments, and that was a great topic. Thanks for clarifying some things there, Dr. John. A couple things that I'm seeing here, a couple comments asking about timelines, decision timelines. Several are delayed. I think I saw a comment from back in August. One was recently. There are a couple things that do lead to those delays. Like we've already mentioned, the VA being super backlogged, right? Like they've been inundated with claims, especially since the PACT Act has gone into effect and other presumptive lists have gone into effect. We see a lot of delays based on regions of the country. We also see a lot of delays based on how you filed the claim. If you filed one condition versus filing 10 conditions, you're going to see a very different timeline. So a couple of those things do take account, or you should take into account when talking about the timeline. If it's been more than the average, I think the VA has 120 days now on the website, or 118 days as the average decision time. If it's been longer than that 120 days, go ahead and give that 1,000 number a call. Call the VA hotline and get a representative on the phone and just ask them, hey, do you see my claim? What's the status of my claim? Do you guys need anything else from me? And that number is 800-827-1000. That's the VA hotline. So yeah, there it is in the comment box. So again, that's for all. We 4 or 5 comments here from veterans asking about timelines. So I hope that helps shed a little bit of light there. But yeah, go ahead and give them a call, ask them the status of your claim, and then ask them if they need anything else from you. So yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Herman Ellis, he asked, is presumptive screening submitting a claim? And if I'm reading this correctly, it looks like maybe you went in for burn pit registry exam or something like that. And if that's the case, then no, that's not submitting a claim. Understand that the VA is broken into actually 3 different sections. There's the Veterans Health Administration, and that's where you're going to go get your health care. There's the Veterans Benefits Administration, and that's typically what we work with here with your compensation benefits. And then there's the National Cemetery that's also part, and we don't want to mess with that at all, right? Not anytime soon. But if you went to a local VA hospital and had a presumptive screening, that is absolutely not submitting a claim. Okay, so and again, we'll throw it back up here. If you want to speak with one of our representatives, jump over to vacifree30.com. Get scheduled with one of our awesome business development representatives. They can fill you in on how our process works and what you need to do to get connected with a coach.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Stacy's saying, there's different parts to the VA, and it gets really easy to get down or bag on the VA, and and I've caught myself doing it, but we have to remind ourselves that it's the bureaucracy in the system that is broken, right? I've had great care from the VA. I've had great providers. I've had great people. A vast majority of the people that work for the VBA are they themselves veterans and or disabled veterans. There's and on top of the bureaucracy and the system being broken and such, there's also human error involved, right? People make mistakes, but I really have a hard time believing that anybody sits around and says, "Hey, I want to deny veterans today." They have to operate within the confines of the system and the laws and the hand they're dealt, and that's why we're here to help you understand that system, so we can help you get together a fully developed claim, get them a claim that they can approve, so they can stamp it. You can get compensated. Help them do their job. We actually get a number. We have a number of VA employees that are clients, and a number of referrals that come from the VA because they want you to get your benefits. They want you to get compensated. They want you to get treated, getting taken care of, and have an overall better quality of life.
I think while we're on this topic, and I know we're running out of time here, it's also really good to recognize the success stories that we have here in the comments, right? Don just said, 50 to 70 in 15 days. I think Steve put up a little shout out there saying that he had our help. Now, whether a veteran has our help or not, I mean, we want success for all our veterans, right? All of our veterans out there. So yeah, so Steve says he went to 100% permanent in total. And appreciates our help. So we appreciate the shout out there. That means more to us than anything, because your success is our success, and we celebrate that alongside you. That life change and that generational change that Donnie was talking about when we first opened up this hour. So just want to recognize a few people here who have their own success stories, and whether it's come with our help or not, just a veteran out there doing his own thing, doing his or her own thing, that's fine. But I love celebrating these successes here alongside all of our veterans chiming in. So,
yeah. 0 to 80 in a year.
There we go. Yeah, Paul. Yeah, I saw Paul chiming in 0 to 80, 20 to 80. Yeah, love the success stories there. So, yeah, thanks for sharing, everyone. That's pretty cool.
Liliana, 20 to 80%.
There we go.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
This is more than just a job. This is a community. That's what we're doing here. We're building a community. We come with VACI. We have a lot of community classes, right? We have the one-on-many model and the one-on-one model. I have been to a client's wedding and a client's funeral. This is more than just a job. You build relationships. I have probably shed more tears at this job than any other job.
Both happy and sad.
Yeah,
right.
Both happy and sad.
Right.
I have to say it's the best job and the hardest job I've ever had. Because the ups and downs, you live these experiences with your veterans, and it's an emotional roller coaster sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love to see all the success stories here.
10% PNT. Wow.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So a couple of the questions here. Yeah, this video will be available after this broadcast. We will post this to our YouTube channel. So if you have a YouTube account, go ahead and sign in there and subscribe to VA Claims Insiders channel, and go ahead and check out this video. I think our turnaround time is about a week, so this video will be up there on YouTube for everyone to review. And then, like we mentioned earlier, this hour goes by really fast, and we talk about a lot of things, and we have a lot of fun. We can't answer every single question in the chat box or the comment box during this hour, but I promise you we'll be getting back to everyone's comments after this broadcast is over the next few days. So yeah, rest assured you'll get an answer very shortly to your question. Yeah.
Thanks for spending the last hour of your day hanging out with us. It's been a lot of fun. It's cool to chat with you and get to know you in the chat. I know we can't see you, but it's great to be able to interact in this space, and you guys make it possible. So we appreciate that a ton. We love that we get to do this. It truly is awesome for us. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Dr. John, any parting words of wisdom?
No, we only have a couple more minutes. The main thing that I can always say is just keep fighting, keep going. Getting what you deserve.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. We're all brothers and sisters of the uniform, and we need to really continue looking out for each other. And we just need to keep, helping each other get to that point or that pinnacle of where we feel we got what we deserve. So just keep in the fight, keep doing it. And definitely, if you're looking to get a coach, make sure that you get a hold of us. Get that 30-minute phone call. Sorry, my tongue was moving faster than.
So, your Benjamin Button disease failed you now, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Get to the phone. Get to the phone call. Learn more about us. Also, check out this the presumptive list here. But definitely, if you're wanting to really get serious about this, get with a coach, develop that strategy, and the sky's the limit. So just keep going, keep fighting.
Right on. Well, I want to thank everybody for spending your hour with us today. Love interacting with you, just like Liz said a minute ago. And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off and look forward to working with you. Jump on with us and let's get rolling and take care of your claims.
Everybody have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Take care.